So, you've got these two giants in the crypto space, Avalanche and Solana. Everyone calls them Ethereum killers. But today, we're not just going to compare stats. We're going to dig into what makes them fundamentally different, and we're going to do it by looking at this one super intense debate that kicked off with a pretty wild proposal from inside the Avalanche community itself. And it all started right here. This single comment on Reddit where a user just comes out and says, hey, maybe Avalanche should chop the money it pays out to its network protectors, the validators, by a whopping 50%. And that is the wild idea we're going to unpack.
I mean, that immediately brings up a huge question, right? We're in a space where everybody is chasing rewards, chasing yield. So why on earth would somebody argue for getting less? Well, to answer that, we've got to look at the economic engine humming away under Avalanche's hood.
So, to even begin to get why someone would suggest something so crazy, we have to look at Avalanche's economic engine, what people call its tokenomics. It's a really unique system, and it was designed with a very, very specific goal in mind. And that goal is to create what's called a deflationary engine. The whole idea is that over time, the network's own token, AVAX, is supposed to get more scarce, not less. This isn't an accident. It's right at the core of how it's designed to work. So how does this whole thing actually work? Well, it basically rests on three main pillars. First up, there's a hard cap supply, kind of like Bitcoin, right? There's a finite number that will ever exist. Second, you have these powerful burn mechanisms that are constantly taking tokens out of circulation for good. And third, you have what are called structural sinks, like staking, which basically act like a big vault, locking tokens up and taking them off the open market. Now, what's so interesting here is that this burn isn't just happening from people sending transactions back and forth. No, Avalanche burns fees at every single level. You've got user fees on the C chain where all the apps are. You've got fees from validators setting up shop on the P chain. And you even have this little recurring fee every single month for every validator. All of it, poof, it gets destroyed permanently. And this chart, this is where it all comes together. It shows AVAX's potential supply curve next to Bitcoin's. Now, we know Bitcoin's is predictable. It comes up at a set rate. But look at AVAX. It's designed so that if the network gets busy enough, the amount of AVAX being burned could actually be more than the amount being created. The total supply could literally start to go down. Which, you guessed it, brings us right back to our big debate. Because this super powerful deflationary engine is the whole reason this argument even exists. It creates this real push and pull, this tension between paying people to secure the network and trying to make the token itself more scarce and valuable. So here's the argument in a nutshell. On one side, you have people saying, look, if we slash the rewards, we slow down how many new AVAX tokens are created. That puts the deflationary engine into overdrive and should make every single token worth more. But the other side comes back with a really simple point. If you stop paying the security guards, guess what? They might just stop showing up for work. And the original poster lays out their logic perfectly. They're thinking like an economist. A lot of validators treat these rewards as their income, right? They earn AVAX, they sell it for dollars. So if you reduce those rewards, you reduce that constant daily pressure of people selling, which in theory should help the price. But then you get this, the raw, gut-level response from an actual validator. And this user, SpinKick, makes it crystal clear. For them, this isn't a theory, it's a business. They're saying the profit margins are already thin, and if you cut them, they're out. It's just that simple. And here's another user breaking down the math. They're saying the extra money you make for actually running a validator versus just easily delegating your tokens to someone else is already tiny. As they put it, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. If you slash that even further, you're not just going to annoy people, you could seriously damage the network by pushing operators away. Okay, but here's the twist. You have to look at the data. This chart shows the actual number of validators on Avalanche over time. And even with this whole fierce debate going on, look at the trend. It's been going up, steadily. So for now at least, the network security is actually getting stronger. Now, to really put all this in perspective, we've got to bring in the competition. Let's talk about Avalanche's biggest rival, Solana. It's super helpful to see how another one of these top-tier projects tackles the exact same problems, but with a completely different philosophy. All right, let's put them side by side. I mean, you can see right away these two are playing completely different games. Avalanche has its multi-chain setup and a hard cap on its supply. Solana is this single, monolithic chain that uses something called proof of history for its crazy speed, and it has an infinite supply. Totally different approaches.
You can pretty much boil down their entire strategies to this. Avalanche is betting on a future of versatility. It thinks different apps will need their own custom-built blockchains, these things they call subnets. Solana, on the other hand, is betting everything on raw speed, just one incredibly fast blockchain for everyone on the planet to use.
And here's one of Avalanche's big selling points. When you send a transaction, it's confirmed, it's final, in about 2 seconds. That's practically instant. But then you see Solana's number, a theoretical 50,000 transactions per second. Yeah, it might take a few more seconds to be totally final, but the sheer volume it can handle is just on another level. That's that focus on raw speed. And this ties us right back to that original debate. Their monetary policies are polar opposites. Avalanche, fixed supply, burning tokens to become deflationary. Solana, no cap at all. It creates new tokens to pay its stakers, though that rate of creation does slow down over time, which is why they call it disinflationary. But here's a catch. A big one for Avalanche. For a network that's all about decentralization, look at this. Over 71% of its validators are all running on one single cloud provider, Amazon Web Services. That is a massive potential point of failure.
So, after all that, what's the takeaway? Well, this isn't really about picking a winner and a loser. That's not the right question. What we're really looking at is a choice between two completely different, competing visions for what the future of this technology should even look like. And I think these analogies make it really clear. Is the future going to be a world of many custom, specialized blockchains that all connect to each other, kind of like using a bunch of different specialized Lego bricks? Or is it going to be one single, universal, super fast computer that just handles everything you can possibly throw at it? Which brings us all the way back to the beginning. That debate on Reddit about slashing rewards, it was never really just about the money. It was about a huge, fundamental question. What is the absolute best way to build an economic system that keeps a network secure and growing for decades to come? And that's really the question we're left with. The foundations for the next version of the internet are being poured as we speak. Is that future going to be built on one single, blazing fast superhighway like Solana? Or is it going to be a vast, interconnected network of custom roads like Avalanche? The final chapter on that is still being written.